General Assimi Goita has granted himself a 5-year presidential mandate, renewable as many times as necessary and without election, in a bill signed into law on Thursday. The bill implemented recommendations of the National Dialogue consultations organized by the military regime in April and boycotted by political parties. It was passed by the military-appointed legislative body last week. The law allows Goita to lead the West African country until at least 2030, despite the military government's initial pledge to return to civilian rule in March 2024. Goita.
Hello, my people. General Assimi Goita of Mali have turned their back on democracy. You know what I mean? The junta leader, the military leader, they have completely turned their back on democracy. And some people might think like, oh, this is, some people that are pro-democracy might think, oh, this is a bad stuff, you know what I mean? Because now there won't be election in that country for the next 5 years, you know what I mean? And he has the chance, he has the freedom to extend that tenure again after 5 years, you know what I mean? And people, the pro-democracy, from the West, they're going to be against him. But some people that it doesn't care about whether you are in democracy or you are in any type of government in Africa, so long as your people, you are doing something for your people, that's what matters, you know what I mean? So for me, when I look at the way democracy has been handled in Africa, I see completely, most of the time, they have abused democracy. You know what I mean? That system has been abused. You know what I mean? So for me, what I want, my own personal opinion is like, if you're treating your people good, if you're doing whatever you're supposed to do without corruption or less corruption, and doing something for the next generation of Africa, not being selfish, you know what I mean? Not taking our wealth in Africa and bringing it abroad, you know what I mean? That's what I want. For me, personally, I don't care any system of government you have in Africa, so long as it's driven, it's driven on helping people that need help and putting infrastructures down. Because one advantage of military in Africa is that the West, if you're not going to get support from the West, you know what I mean? You're cut off from the West. And sometimes it's good stuff to be cut off from the West, because some of these corrupt leaders, they will hide their wealth in the West. They will they will generate their wealth from Africa and take it to the West to hide it. And now, but if you're a military leader, you can't even go to the West, they will not grant you a visa to travel to their country, you know what I mean? It's kind of a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? But I think the downside to it is that some of them we have seen in the history of this military leadership in Africa, this what Gaddafi did, stuff like that. When they keep themselves in power like that, they start to be brutal. They start to go against their enemies with force, with the government force, start to oppress their people with time, you know what I mean? But, if that's the one downside of these dictators, sometimes, they start as a military leader, and sometimes they will go and transform themselves, and they will start this bloodbath, eliminating their opponent, you know what I mean? This is why this way is bad, because now, but if it's civilian government, even if it's in power, he doesn't have like that military urge all the time. Some, you know what I mean? So it's double-edged sword. But we see what's happening in Burkina Faso. That Burkina Faso, this man is doing well at the moment. You know what I mean? But people are praising him, which they should, because those people that were there before, they are sellouts, you know what I mean? But people should be cautious of praising these military leaders, you know what I mean? They should be very cautious of, because We have seen this before. If you are just kind of oblivious of history, it's gonna repeat itself. You know what I mean? So as you say, they are doing better, or some of them are doing better. I don't hear much about this military, this Mali guy. Whether he's doing well in Mali, it's only Burkina Faso we know. You know what I mean? But this one is quick to give himself another 5 years. We hope that he's doing anything for his people. Peace.